unpack a distinction between worldly sorrow and godly sorrow?
Well, these things can be hard to discern, especially for people that have a lot of experience in the church, because
Mm.
they can give lip service to repentance and they can put a lot of biblical language on that.
Uh-huh.
However, 2 Corinthians makes it clear that godly sorrow is marked by earnestness and it's marked by zeal for the Lord. And so, whereas worldly regret is performative,
Mm.
it has, in other words, worldly regret has worldly priorities in mind,
Mhm.
whereas godly sorrow has the glory of God in mind first and foremost, one's relationship with God, restoring trust and making amends for the sake of loving others, not just for the sake of getting into a better place. So, for example, I've counseled a ton of adultery in my life. I've seen the offending spouse give lip service to repentance very quickly and want to move through the process very quickly and just get to the other side of it. They've been committing
Mhm.
adultery for a decade, but they want to get to the other side of it in 2 weeks, which is,
Mhm.
for one thing, extremely unrealistic, but is also indicative of worldly regret. They aren't really reckoning with what they've done before the Lord or even the impact that it's had on their spouse or their family and just the ripple effects that it can even have throughout a church community. And so that's indicative of worldly regret. I've seen that same person be transformed through the ministry of the word to someone that does have godly sorrow. And when that takes shape, there's this zeal for the Lord that results in brokenness, contrition, confession, more full confession, not the half-hearted, I'll confess what really has already been
Right.
discovered or which is
Yeah.
obvious, but the other things. It's way more heart level. It's not blame shifting in any way, shape, or form, but it's also marked by this earnestness, really to pursue the Lord, but also to love others and consider other people, whether or not that's the spouse that was offended or just people in general. And so, what that looks like is I've seen that same person, like I said, with worldly regret get transformed. And now all of a sudden they have all of these creative ways of considering their spouse that the spouse didn't even ask for, that I never even
Mhm.
thought of. I've had guys be on Zoom meetings with their wife on their phone while they're in a business meeting just so their spouse can have confidence that they're there. And I never even thought of that before. But I've seen that sort of change that's marked by earnestness that is really concerned with honoring God and is really concerned with considering and loving others. So that's the difference, and that's a real world case example.